cards, and I was gonna be like, oh, this is gonna be annoying. I'm like, alright. Okay, accompanied by a wall of angry water. Angry water. Angry water. Junpei shot out of the room and into the opposing wall, gasping to catch his breath. So I'm like, so I was like, uh, pinned. I like there's like water like up to my back. Oh, actually, we're probably like underwater at this point because I took so long on that. Right, I'm like fucking underwater, opening up this shit. Can it only be 14 or 41? No, it could have been 23 if you could have made 23. What was it? There was 6, 7, 8, right? So I think that's. I forgot what the digital root of 6, 7, 8 was going to be. All right, 13, 21 is 3. So maybe you couldn't do that. 7, 8 is 15 plus 3 is 18, so that's probably not possible. So it had to be 14, I think, yeah. Accompanied by a wall of angry water, Junpei shot out of the room and into the opposing wall. Yeah, so I was like underwater, then opened the door, and I'm like, um, gasping to catch his breath, he looked around. Yeah, we're like on a ship that like blew up or something. The water that had followed him out of the room was rapidly pouring out of the door. It flowed quickly down the hallway and slammed into the foot of the short flight of stairs. Just 5 steps, in fact. And at the top of the short staircase, a door. Another fucking door. Junpei leapt up the stairs straight for the door. And the door burst open. Oh, I'm surprised about that. And Junpei exploded out of it only to freeze in his tracks. What other possible response could there be to what he saw? What the hell? His voice trailed off and all he could do was stare. A polished floor stretched out before him, ornate staircases rising up from the edges, each one of them equidistant from the others. The stairs and pillars were solid wood, and Art Nouveau embellishments and decorations covered the walls and pillars. It looked like nothing so much as the entrance to a luxurious mansion from the early 1900s. Junpei couldn't help but wonder, was he really in a ship? The water quickly filling the hallway behind him suggested that yes, he was. As he looked, a fresh wave rolled out of the room he'd been in, gathering speed as it moved towards the stairs. I don't think that, like, a wave, like, would come out like that, but whatever. Yeah, that's what I thought. This is totally a... Wait, what the hell? A wave? Shit, I gotta get out of here. Junpei spun around, his wet shoes squeaking in protest on the polished floor, and ran towards the tremendous staircase in front of him. C deck. The best team. B deck. Not as funny. As he ran, he glanced quickly at the plates mounted on the wall, denoting the decks of the ship. He took the stairs two at a time, not entirely sure where he would find himself, just as he began to wonder where in fact the stairs did lead. All these other homies. He saw another person. He stopped short, nearly tripping over the next stairs, and looked. It wasn't just one person he'd seen. On the landing, what is that girl wearing? There are 4 people staring at him. The sky in the far left is hella funny. He stopped short, nearly tripping over the next stairs, and looked. It wasn't just one person he'd seen. On the landing to the left of the stairs, there were 4 people staring at him. And on the right side, 3 more. That means there's 1 more. Yeah. I'm not dumb. Yeah. It looked as though they had been on their way down the stairs. They'd stopped short when they saw Junpei, their eyes wide. He'd done the same, of course, and now they stood there staring at one another. Junpei didn't move, one foot placed awkwardly in the next step in the middle of a stride. Who were these people? This entire interaction lasted only a matter of seconds. The woman spoke to Junpei, and time began to move again. What are you wearing, girl? I guess there's another one of us now. The woman was dressed, Junpei thought, rather like a dancer in brackets. Her clothes covered very little, and her prodigious jewelry little more. Hey you, come on. Hurry. With no further ceremony, she ran straight past Junpei towards the door behind him. The sudden proximity of the woman with such striking assets left Junpei momentarily stunned. But the others wasted no time and quickly followed the strange woman. The first to pass Junpei was a young man with silver hair. He's got like black tape. It's pretty great. And I don't know, and like sleeves. Sleeves are great. I ain't want a pair of sleeves, man. Sleeves look comfortable to wear. He threw a quick glance in Junpei's direction as he ran, muttering, "One of us, huh?" Following was an older man, his face calm and without fear. Soft wrinkles sprouted from his eyes, and he came close enough as he passed Junpei to see the wisps of gray in his hair. His composure and shock of hair struck Junpei as rather like that of an elderly lion. Oh, shock of hair. Okay, yes. Going up won't do you any good. There are 2 doors, but neither of them will open. The next to speak was a girl with pink hair and a high voice. Come on, aren't you coming? You gotta hurry. Her small hand was wrapped around the wrist of another man. I don't see it wrapped around her wrist, though. His eyes closed. Oh, this guy's blind. His features were graceful, almost serene, and he was dressed rather elegantly for someone his age. Something about his posture seemed very refined, and Junpei couldn't help feeling he was noble and dignified somehow. He'd certainly never seen one, but this man seemed like what Junpei had always imagined a prince would be like. That's 9 of us, then. All the cards are in hand. What does all the cards are in hand mean, he wondered. Junpei opened his mouth to ask what the other man meant, but the girl with pink hair rushed past him, and they were gone. He turned just in time to see 2 more people running toward him. One of them had hair like a bird's nest, and looked as though a stiff breeze might topple him. And the other was a veritable mountain of a man. The scrawny one said nothing and sculled past Junpei as though he were running from something. Hey, what the hell are you doing? Just stand there for. We call his name is Mountain. Didn't you hear him? The doors on A deck are no good. We gotta check the doors on B deck. Got it? Now, good. Before he had a chance to respond, the man laid a massive hand on Junpei's shoulders. With no more effort than Junpei would have used to brush aside a fly, the man shoved him out of the way. Whoa! Thrown off balance by the man in recent events, it took Junpei a few steps to get his bearings. He finally regained his balance and looked up at what the other 7 had been running toward. There were 2 pairs of large iron doors set into the wall in front of him. They looked quite sturdy, and each had handles jutting from them. Written across the surface of each door in red paint was a number. The door on the right had a 4, and the door on the left had a 5. They're the same. The guy Junpei decided to call Chip was mumbling to himself. The room I woke up in had a number on the door just like that. You too, huh? With an arched eyebrow, the lion looked over at Silver. My cell was the same. A number upon the door. I opened it and ran down the hallway outside and found myself in a rather grand room, full of stairs as I suspected did the rest of you. It was as though the floodgates had been opened. They all began to talk at once. Me too, I did too. Yeah, a door with a number on it. It soon became clear that each of them had awoken in the room with a locked door and solved a puzzle to escape. They had all ended up in the same room, almost as though they'd been guided there. Dancer, or aka Opie. Okay, we saw the same thing. That's not important. We need to hurry. Yeah, you think I don't know that lady? Before the dancer had time to finish, Silver was already running. Dude, this guy's great. He grabbed hold of the door labeled 5 and pulled. However, fuck, it's not opening. This damn thing won't even budge. Move, you're in the way. The mountain grabbed Silver's shoulder and tossed him aside. His path clear, he took a few steps back and then threw himself at the door. Once, twice, 3 times. 4 times. The door shook as his body slammed into it, but showing no signs of breaking or opening. The mountain threw himself at the door again. Junpei turned towards door number 4. Next to the door or the wall was a small box. It looked just like the one that he'd seen in his room next to the door. It was the same. It was the same then. This door was likely locked as well. Still, he had to check. Junpei grabbed a handle and threw all of his weight on it. Ah! Ugh. It was locked as tight as the door next to him as he expected. Damn it. Junpei punched the door and did not respond. Were these the only doors, he wondered. He'd barely finished the thought when the C-deck plate he'd passed on his way up sprang unbidden to his mind. His body moved before he had time to think. Junpei turned and ran back towards the stairs. He had scarcely taken a step when, at the top of the stairs next to an ornate clock embedded in the wall, he saw a person. Oh, is this the waifu? It was a girl. She looked to be about the same age as Junpei. You're ruining my identity, Des. He froze, unable to look away from her face. He wasn't confounded by her beauty or something equally silly. No, there was another reason he couldn't take his eyes off of the girl. Junpei had seen her somewhere before. He couldn't quite remember where, but he knew. He knew he'd met her before. The girl, too, stared at Junpei similarly stunned. Her response suggested he'd seen him before as well. Without saying a word, Junpei slowly walked towards her. She didn't move. It was almost as though she was held in place by some sort of magic spell. As Junpei stepped onto her landing, the spell broke. No sooner had he set his foot down than the whole ship shook a second time. Ah! The quake caught the girl unprepared, and she fell. Moving on instinct, Junpei leapt to catch her. Anime. Anime. Her face was far closer than it should have been, mere inches from his own. He was flat on his back, and she had landed squarely on top of him. The girl seemed as confused as he did, and her face suggested that she still hadn't fully recovered from seeing him. For a moment that seemed to stretch for a very long time, they stared at one another. The ship stopped shaking. Everything was quiet. Water could be heard from the bottom of the ship, laughing faintly at the walls and ceilings, but eventually that had faded as well. The silence was complete, a thick, muffling blanket. At last, the girl opened her mouth. Oh my gosh, is that you, Jumpy? 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 Hold up, what? I don't. So can someone just find out what she says in Japanese? Because I don't know if I can say Jumpy the whole rest of this game, or Jumpy. I guess it's supposed to be Jumpy because someone find out, because his name is Junpei, right? So it's not even like Junpei. It's Jumpy. I don't even know. Is it Junshan? Okay, it could just be Junshan. I'm okay with that. Jumpy. No, I'm fucking done. Junshan. I'm just gonna say Junshan. Her words echoed through Junpei's head. Fuck. And suddenly his memory returned. Akane? Why is her mouth open like that? Why hadn't he realized it before? The girl was Akane Kurashiki. She and Junpei had been friends in childhood. They had gone to elementary school together for 6 years. She says Junshan? Okay. But what was she doing on the ship? She doesn't look as cute as... Her soft eyes were only inches away from his own. Man, what is this? He could feel the warmth of her face. Feelings he'd thought long forgotten began to work their way to the surface. Ah, man. Jumpy man. Where is that BGM? She has a cool cape. I can't find the BGM I'm looking for, so I guess I'm gonna not. Alright, whatever. You could feel his face heating up. At that moment, a speaker cracked to life and a cold, eerie voice filled the room. Welcome aboard. I welcome you all from the bottom of my heart to this, my vessel. With the voice's invasion, the spell between Junpei and Akane was broken and all hints of burgeoning romance instantly forgotten. They hurriedly untangled themselves from one another and struggled to their feet. Their 7 companions had heard the voice as well, and many of their faces had gone pale. They looked around frantically, desperate to locate the source of the voice, and at last they found it, a speaker set in the ceiling. I am Zero, the captain of this ship. I am also the person who invited you here. The voice was harsh, obscured occasionally by the crackle of static, but Junpei recognized it. How could he have forgotten it? It was the same voice he had heard from the man in the gas mask. Hey, asshole! Who the hell's this? Come on out of here, I want to get a look at you. What do you mean to do to us?
I mean to have you participate in a game. Some of you I know are familiar with this game. The Nonary game. It is a game where you'll put your life on the line.
Nonary game? What the hell's that? The voice continued, implacable.
The rule of the Nonary game can be found on your persons. They are simple rules. Read them.
Nonary game? Hey, there's something in my pocket. Check it out. Silver reached into his pocket and pulled out a small slip of paper. The rest of them reached into their own pockets and pulled out similar slips of paper. Junpei followed suit and dug into the pocket of his pocket. He felt the telltale crumble of paper, slightly damp from his earlier ordeal. How is it not just ruined? Hey, I got one too. Then it would seem that Zero has seen fit to grace us each with a letter. Would you mind terribly reading it to us, young man? His request had been delivered to Junpei, who, after a short moment of surprise, did as he'd asked. On this ship, you will find a handful of doors emblazoned with numbers. We will call them the numbered doors. The doors in front of you are a pair of the same. The key to opening these numbered doors... Does that mean the letter assumes that they're in that area? I guess so. The key to opening these numbered doors are the numbered bracelets that each of you possess. Should you total the numbers on your numbered bracelets and find that the digital root of that number is equal to the number of that door, the room will open. Only those who have opened the door may pass through. Oh, shit. There are, however, limits. Only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door. All those who enter must leave, and all those who enter must contribute. Ah, I see. So, I see. Okay. Bracelet. Junpei figured had to mean the bulky thing on his wrist. He glanced around. It looked like everyone else had as well, and had come to much the same conclusion. The purpose of the game is simple. Leave this ship alive. It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9. I'm assuming that the digital root of 1 through 9, or 1 through 9 is 9. Is it? 3, 6, 10, 15, 21, 27, 35, 40, what was I on? 43? 54? 9? Yeah, okay. No, that... I'm assuming I just counted wrong. I'm assuming it's 9. Okay. 3, 6, 10, 10, 15, 21. That's 7, right? 28 is 8. 36. 45. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm just bad at math. Junpei had reached the end of the letter. There was a long moment of silence, and then the speaker crackled to life once more. There is one last thing I must tell you. As you have no doubt surmised... Oh.
As you have no doubt surmised, the ship has begun to sink. On April 14th, 1912, the famous ocean liner Titanic crashed into an iceberg. After remaining afloat for 2 hours and 4 minutes, it sank beneath the waters of the North Atlantic. I will give you more time. 9 hours.
Damn, 9 hours?
That is the time you'll be given to make your escape.
The voice finished, and the speaker went silent. Okay, the sound of a bell tolling echoed through the hall. It came from the dance hall adjacent to the stairwell. It took those assembled on the stairs mere moments to trace the sound to an antique clock embedded in the wall. The sound of the 9th bell faded away. The 10th never came. That meant that the time was 9 o'clock, most likely 9 o'clock in the evening. When Junpei had peered out the window of his cell, he'd seen nothing but blackness. It had to be nighttime. This means that this guy woke up at 8:30 or something at night. If that was the case, then they would need to escape by 6 a.m. the following day.
Now it is time. Let our game begin. I wish you all the best of luck.
The speaker went silent and did not speak again. Silver yelled at the speaker with language coarse enough to embarrass a sailor, but the rest of Junpei's companions were silent, deep in thought. Junpei, too, was consumed by his thoughts. There was a great deal he didn't understand. Who was Zero? What was the nonary game? Why had he chosen to make them part of it? Was he a criminal who took delight in playing with his victims, maybe part of a movie series that I've already watched? Or did he have some other purpose? And why had Junpei been chosen as part of this insane game? Why had any of them been chosen? But one question was foremost on his mind. Akane. They hadn't seen each other since elementary school. Why had she appeared now? Coincidence? No, that seemed impossible. There had to be a reason. He didn't know what it might be, but there had to be a reason. Very well. The lion's voice seemed oddly loud in the silence. Standing around here won't do us any good. Best we get moving, don't you think? Get moving? Are you planning to open the numbered doors? Hell yeah! Wait, don't tell me you're actually going to do what this Zero says. No, that's not what I mean. The lion shook his head, mildly annoyed. I'm saying let's find another way. After all, we haven't really examined this place yet. We what? Their separate investigations finished, all 9 people returned to where they had left one another. The result of all of their work was nothing. They were completely sealed in. Their hard work had not gone complete to waste, however. They had learned a number of things as they'd scoured the parts of the ship they could reach. It seemed that though they were confined to decks A through C. C deck was as far down as they would be able to go, however. The reason being that D-Deck was completely submerged. Strangely, however, the water had risen no higher than D-Deck. The flow seemed to have been stopped somehow, as evidenced by the surface of the water on D-Deck, which was as smooth as glass. Maybe, you know, they're not underwater. Okay. She says Junpei-kun, or wait, or whatever the fuck my fucking last name is, or whatever, or is that actually how you read Junpei? I don't fucking know. How is this kanji read? Do we even know our fucking last name? We probably don't. The prince knelt down and gently drew his hand across it. Perhaps this Zero fellow had used some sort of remote control to seal the water light. To seal a watertight door lower down. He said that our time limit was 9 hours. In other words, this water won't rise for 9 hours. Then you're saying we won't sink till then? Well, that might be a little too optimistic. No point to wishful thinking. There were 3 metal doors on sea deck. A single door stood off to the side with 2 more on the wall facing the central staircase. None of them had numbers or verification devices. They were, however, locked in like the other doors. No matter how much they pushed and shoved, the doors refused to move. All they need is like a fucking axe, man. The mountain and the lion threw themselves against them a few times, but to no avail. The door in the back had a keyhole. Just above it was a strange mark the shape of a circle surrounding a dot. There were 2 other doors on sea deck as well, but they were clearly elevators, each of which had a button next to it with an upside-down triangle. They had tried pushing the button. No response. Apparently there was no power running to the elevators. To the left of the elevator doors was a card reader. The card reader also had a strange mark on it. It looked like a lowercase h with a dash drawn across the upper stem of the h. It looks like a sword and a question mark to me. Or maybe I don't know. Junpei stared at it for a while. Oh wow, she knows. This is a symbol of Saturn. Okay, thanks, Akane. You're like pretty knowledgeable about that. It's an astrological symbol. Then the mark on the door. I think that was the sun symbol. They had seen the same symbols on A deck. There was a door on either side of the stairs. The one on the left had a keyhole with a similar symbol engraved on it. This is an Earth symbol. The horizontal line symbolizes the equator and the vertical line represents the prime meridian because, you know, those things don't exist on other planets. Junpei looked up at the ceiling. I bet she's like making this shit up. There was a great circle cut in it, perhaps for a skylight or a glass dome, but it had been filled with a gargantuan metal plate. The metal looked very solid. Anything short of an explosive charge was unlikely to damage it. There were several windows along both sides of the ship, or at least there had been. They too were covered with the metal plates. In other words, we're trapped. All the exits go nowhere. Junpei was not happy. The girl with the pink hair spoke up. Well, I'm sure they go somewhere. We can't just open them up. We just can't open them. Then the mountain spoke. You don't know that. For all we know, they just open into walls or take us into circles. The prince did not agree. No, I'm sure they go somewhere. Otherwise, what point would there be? And we can open them. Well, 2 of them at least. You mean the numbered doors? All eyes turned towards the doors with the numbers on them. The atmosphere in the room grew tense. Hey, wait a minute. I think I just said this earlier, but I don't think we should do that. The dancer moved in front of the doors as if to block them. We have to be crazy to open these doors. If we do that, we're doing exactly what Zero wants us to do. Suddenly everyone began to speak at once. Yo, hold it. I agree. I don't. That'd be a terrible idea. Fuck that noise. We should do that shit. YOLO. We don't have any other way to open any of these doors. We should just wait. Someone's bound to save us. Who the fuck said that? We don't have time for that. In 8.5 hours, and we will all die. The clamor voices made it next to impossible to determine who was saying what. Their arguments grew more and more intense until people were shouting and screaming at one another. Junpei had remained silent, but at last he could take no more. Hey! Shut the fuck up! They fell silent and all eyes turned to Junpei. He felt each stare burning into him, but he refused to flinch. Before we try and decide what we're gonna do, there's something else we ought to do. And what's that? We need to exchange information. We don't know anything about each other except the fact that I know that one girl. I want to know who you guys are. Who are you, where you came from, why you ended up here. Don't tell me you aren't curious too. They were silent. Some of them looked the other way, or bit their lip, or crossed their arms and stared at the ceiling. Just like... oh, fuck my neck, I shouldn't have done that. But one of them spoke up. It was Akane. I agree. I think... we're gonna do this the whole fucking game. I don't know, man. I guess I think I'm just gonna say Junpei-kun. I guess I think Junpei-kun is right. Junpei-kun? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about him. I just call him. Just say Dat Boy. I'm talking about him. I just call him Dat Boy. His name is Junpei. She pointed towards Junpei. We're childhood friends. We went to the same elementary school. Wait, stop. Don't tell us stuff we didn't ask you to talk about. Theo's probably watching this right now. What are you gonna do if he's listening in? Would that be bad? Hell yeah, it would. We don't know how much that bastard knows about us. Maybe he just picked a bunch of random people to kidnap. If that is the case, it'd be dangerous for us to let him know too much. If Zero knows who we are, he could go after our families. Maybe he'd tell us he had to get him to do stuff, you know. But we still need to know what our names are. It's gonna be hard to talk to each other if we don't have names. Alright, then why don't we have code names? To him, apparently, it seemed like the obvious solution. Yeah, we'll each pick something. Like, I'll be 7. Yeah, you're fucking smart. 7? Why are you 7? Seemed like a fair question. The mountain stuck out his left arm. 'Cause I'm fucking 7. Oh, I get it. Yeah, that's a good idea. He smirked. Alright, I'm gonna be Santa. Any of you chumps know Japanese? No? Well, san means 3, so I'll be Santa. You know, like Santa Claus fits, don't you think? Then your bracelet number. Yeah, it's got 3 on it. Good job, Grandpa. Just like the man had done, Silver thrust out his left hand. Sure enough, the face of his bracelet read 3. Very well then. I'll go next, shall I? My bracelet number is 1. Given that, I think Ace seems appropriate. All these fucking guys. I'll be Lotus then, I'm sure you all know. No. It has 8 petals. Didn't know that. That's cool. Which means, of course, that my bracelet number is 8. I would appreciate if you would call me Snake. My bracelet number is 2. Since Ace has chosen cards, I chose dice. Snake Eyes, clearly, which is partially relevant given that I am blind. Blind, really? He kept his eyes closed during their entire ordeal, which is suggested something strange, but to hear it said so casually, it was something of a surprise. Everyone seemed a little nervous at the prince's proclamation, but no one seemed to know how to react to it. There was one person, however, who didn't seem too surprised at the least. The girl with the pink hair. I want to be Clover. You know, like a 4-leaf clover? Good luck, right? Looking almost bored, she held out her left hand. The face of her bracelet showed number 4. They'd come around to Junpei. He held his bracelet. My name is Junpei. So my code name is gonna be Junpei. I mean, we already know your name. You're that boy. Oh. They all nodded. I kind of stepped forward nervous. Then you should call me by my name too. Because I mean, it doesn't seem fair to Dat Boy. You're thinking it's not cool for you to hide your name after you told us his? Kai fidgeted awkwardly. Junpei decided he had to do something. What's your bracelet number? It's 6. Jesus, those long sleeves. So, like, does it mean they slapped these bracelets over her sleeve? Like, I'm the evil man, and I have this unconscious girl, and ignoring all the other things I'd be doing when I'm attaching the bracelet on her arm, I'm like, oh yeah, she's got this really long sleeve. Let me, like, slap that onto the sleeve. Which is more likely, that, which doesn't sound like a smart idea, or you, like, are a girl and you're wearing this fucking bracelet and you're like, man, my sleeves are, like, really long, so maybe I'll, like, stick them underneath my fucking bracelet. Alright, she hesitated for a moment, then held out her left hand. As she claimed, the bracelet's face showed as 6. Junpei looked at it for a moment and thought, alright then, why don't we call you June? This is super awkward. Yeah, you know, it's the 6th month of the year in English. So you're June? Dat boy. Akane kneaded her hands and looked up at Junpei uncertain. He smiled back at her reassuringly. Are you good with that? She thought about it for a few more minutes, then seemed to come to a decision and give Junpei a small nod. Their names decided, man, you're gonna name that girl June. Man, the MC is a fucking dumbass. Their names decided, Junpei ran over them quickly in his head. Ace, Snack, Chip Zanoff, Clover, Dat Boy. Akane was 6 and Junpei had given her the codename of June. 7. I like his name is. I guess it makes more sense in Japanese because he's like, oh yeah, my name is Sebun. But like, it's just like, yeah, this guy's fucking 7. Why did they even come up with names? Why don't they just call them by fucking numbers, man? And 8 was Lotus. I'd rather just call these guys by numbers. Like, oh yeah, that's 8 over there. That meant that 8 of them, including Junpei, had revealed their bracelet numbers, but there was still one person left.